Boom. What's up, everybody? Mike, how you doing today, brother?
Excellent. How are you, Greg?
I'm doing good, man. I'm excited about today. The next 12 weeks are sponsored by Alex Jimenez. Alex is a coach, a speaker, and a VA home loan specialist. To learn more about how Alex Jimenez is serving the veteran community as well as our local community, go to ajnashville.com. One of my favorite books, I would say, we're going to talk about, we're not necessarily doing a book review for you guys. The book's called The Four Agreements. If you haven't read it yet, you absolutely want to read this book. You do not want to miss this book. Very short read, very fun read, and it's kind of told like a story inside of a story type thing. Very fun, very easy, digestible. We're not giving you a book review today, but we are going to break down what the four agreements mean for us in our lives and how we are personally using them. This book definitely is in my top 10, possibly in my top 5, and I have read thousands of books, so that's pretty incredible. Mike, what would you say about the book?
This is one of the simplest ways to internalize four very powerful spiritual guidance tools in a nutshell. Reading this book, it's a simple book. It's almost like as simple as a picture book, really.
Literally.
But yeah, that's my 2 cents.
I love what you said. And we're going to dive into them. If you read the book before, you know what we're talking about. But if you don't, hang with us because you're going to learn these four agreements. And because of what we share with you today, because of how we share ways that we have used these in our lives, you are going to have takeaways on how you can use this information to ascend your life now. These four agreements, if you haven't read the book, if you haven't heard them before, the four top most, if you did nothing else and you just if you governed your life off of just these four agreements, you will begin ascending your life right now. Just these four. Holy crap. Okay, let's talk about them. I'm going to power through all four of them. So everyone tuning in for the first time, listening to what they are, you can hear about them, and then we're going to break them down one at a time. So the four agreements are: be impeccable with your word, don't take anything personally, don't make assumptions, and always do your best. Now, at first glance, we can say, oh, that's easy enough. Well, maybe be impeccable with your word. That might need some unpacking. But the next three were like, oh, that makes sense. But today I want to take it one level deeper than what you might have considered each to be. Let's start from the top, be impeccable with your word. Mike, what do you want to share about that? What does that mean to you? How have you applied that in your life? How have you noticed places maybe you weren't impeccable with your word in the past? How have you, what kind of anchors and things have you set, contingencies have you put in place to ensure the impeccability of your word?
Let me wrap this up in 2 minutes. Let's say this. I read this book 10, 11 years ago, the first time. And when I read Be Impeccable with Your Word, it didn't resonate the way it resonates today. So I'm going to give you the two angles. Number one, words to me were just words, right? Oh, it's figure of speech, this, that, the other thing, ways of connecting with other people. Fast forward to today, hearing be impeccable with my word. This is my currency. My word is gold. If it's not, it's nothing. When I hear other people who are impeccable with their word, who articulate clearly, and when they don't have anything to say, they listen. I mean, this is like the integrity. When they say what they mean, they avoid, stuff that they don't. This is literally like just being impeccable with those words is how I know whether it's like literally what tunes my heart compass. Like, oh, I trust this person. And so I try to do that when I'm talking to you, when I'm talking to you guys here. It's very fun to just speak comfortably, clearly, and impeccably.
Dude, thank you. Powerful. I'm going to suggest for everyone, being impeccable with your word is, I think this agreement and don't take anything personal. We'll get on that one next. I think those are my two favorite of the four, although all four are exceptional. Be impeccable with the word. What I want to suggest to everyone, one thing that I realized in my life with impeccability of the word is, and we all know this, when I say this, we'll say, yeah. No, like let it really hit home. Let it drive deep. What I realized with an impeccability of the word, let me adjust fire here. For those of you just listening, I'm playing with my mic. For those of you who are watching, you can see it. All right. The impeccability of the word, I'm going to suggest in my life what I realized has to stem from the impeccability of your thoughts. And a first counselor would say, oh, okay, we know thoughts and things. And, we would say, yeah. But what do you mean, Greg? Let me give you an example. An example would be you might say, I want a six pack. I'm not talking about Bud Light. I'm talking about getting ripped, getting ripped. You might say, I want a six pack. And then the following 6 months goes by and you don't show up to the gym, or you show up once or twice, or you're like, I don't want to eat chicken, or I don't want to. Well, the impeccability of the thought and the impeccability of the word is, how could you possibly want a six pack? What does it matter that you ate boiled or baked chicken? You want a six pack? Who cares? Jay Cutler talked about, he was one of the top bodybuilders, not the football player. I know he's a football player, Jay Cutler. Speaking on the bodybuilder, and he said when I eat food, he said I just eat food for fuel. So I don't know what it tastes like or what, I don't know. I just have to eat this because it's a fuel. Okay, I'm not telling you to eat food in that manner. I enjoy the crap out of my food. But what I'm telling you is the impeccability of the word is you didn't want a six pack. You maybe want it to be lusted after by the opposite sex at the beach during summertime. That's the impeccability of the word, because now what we can realize is, well, now, do you need a six pack? Would it be okay if you didn't have a six pack, but the opposite sex was still lusting after you at the beach? Because who am I to say what's right or wrong? That's the impeccability of the word. If you say I want a six pack, it should be because you truly want a six pack.
Right.
Okay, yeah, what's your feedback on that, Mike? What you got?
Thank you for chunking, man. We need to chunk up and chunk down on some of this stuff. I would actually, I'd like to follow that with, yes, that is true. And I think the easiest way to think about being impeccable with your word is if everyone was hooked up via like Neuralink from Elon Musk to your mouth, okay, and you were speaking, are you comfortable with everyone hearing what you have to say?
Ooh.
Like,
And do you want everything that you're saying?
sure. Another thing is, like, Alex Hormozy said this really well. He said, there's no way you can know how loyal you are until you've been tested, when you know that there's absolutely no way you can get caught.
Bingo. I heard it
So
said one
what
time.
is that?
I heard it said one time. Well, I've heard it said two different ways, and I want what you just said. I've heard it said two different ways, and that's really powerful. A man with no options isn't loyal.
Oh yeah.
A man with options is loyal. Or I've
I
heard
think the comedian said that.
I've heard another way. I've heard the same message said a different way, and it was said, in order to be peaceful, you must be capable of great violence, or you're just harmless.
Oh, that's true. I
Right.
just
So
heard,
the impeccability of the word is having the ability to do the opposite, but making the decision, the conscious and unconscious congruent decision to do this thing. And you know that this is the thing you're going to do, and you know the price that it's going to, the cost for this value. And it's important for you to get this value, so you don't care about the cost. So the impeccability of the word is saying, I am going to build a 7-figure business, understanding that it will require X, Y, and Z sacrifices. And I've already decided that I'm willing to pay X, Y, and Z sacrifices. So I will build a 7-figure business. And then I'm able to be impeccable with my word to myself, not because I told someone else I was doing this, but because over here someone says, oh, do you know that means you have to work X amount of hours, or you have to do certain things, or, and I'm like, oh yeah, for sure. I'm congruent with them. Let's dive into the next one. Don't take anything personally. I told you guys second favorite one out of the four. All four of them are great. Okay, I just really love these first two. They were powerful for me. Don't take anything personally. Mike, I'm gonna dive in this one first, then pass it off to you. The most powerful thing that I took away from don't take anything personally, I'm gonna share a slightly different perspective than you probably ever heard before. The most powerful thing I took away from don't take anything personally is, we know if someone says, Greg, you're an asshole, so don't take it personally, right? That guy's just having a bad day, right? What about when someone says, Greg, you're the freaking man? I don't take it personally. They're just having a good day. Okay, here's why. If when someone says, Greg, you're the man, I can feel good because of that, right? Because I love good feedback, right? A good attaboy. I do. I appreciate it. I appreciate when people give me good feedback. How many people do you know in the world are like, I don't need to be told I did a good job? Hey, tell me if I did a good job. I want to hear about it, okay?
me too.
I want to know about it, okay? But my point is, so I'm allowed to feel good because of that. However, I don't take it personally. So when they said you're the man, I don't personally think I'm the man because this person said it. if I personalize that, then in the absence of this person saying I'm the man, now I'm not capable of being the man. I don't take anything personally, good or bad. Mike, what's your twist on it?
Man, let's take a step back to the premise of the book, which is essentially we were programmed when we were growing up, and we run that program a certain way. So don't take anything personally means, hey, we actually have to check what that programming is or was. And we have to know that other people have programming. On Christmas, here in Nashville, this guy he got in like a road rage fight on the 24. I know this because I had to go take my family to my mother-in-law's, and the whole freaking road was shut down, which usually means something bad happened. Well, I don't know the extent of the road rage. I just know that a gentleman 1 year younger than me, I don't know if he was conducting himself in a very gentlemanly way, was gunned down. And you might think, oh, these guns. Well, dude, actually, how about the fact that whoever did that, their ego, whatever that program was so like tuned to be offended over what other people do that he decided
It
to
felt
kill
personally attacked.
the
Yeah.
person. And,
Think
and
about
we don't even know what it was, but yes. So that's the bad side of it, right? But
this
even then,
powerful dude. Can
it
I
wasn't.
inject for just a second?
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna give it back to you. Like what I love. Thank you for sharing that. Everyone listen and think about the assailant. I think I'm saying that word right. Put it in
Yes.
the comments if I'm not. The assailant was so vibed up that he was able to take another human. Oh, got a little excited there. He was able to take another human's life. How personal, dude. The guy's life that was taken. That guy didn't even know this other guy existed in the friggin' world.
Right.
He didn't even know he existed. But this guy took it so personal that he had to teach him a lesson at the extent of his life. Did the
Right.
gentleman
And
die? Did the gentleman die?
he
That got
died.
shot. Okay.
32 years old. Rest in peace,
Sad.
man.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's like, obviously he hadn't read the four agreements. But even, I'm not trying to laugh about it. I'm just saying, like, dude, that program, whatever your dad or mom did to you when you were a kid, was so ingrained in such a negative way. And the manifestation of that was murder.
Literally.
Literally murder. Okay, so now that we know this, let's jump back out of this for a second, and let's look at it from a more grand scale here, right? Instead of like the little micro scale. Don't take things personally, guys. This person is just acting in a way from their projections. Great. If it's good, great. If it's bad, it's great. In fact, one more thing.
Send it. This is
I grew up
good.
Catholic. I learned a couple things from the Catholic Church that I chose to take with me. One of those is Lent, right? Now, 40 days and 40 nights of giving something up is very powerful. I've done it with social media. I've done it with
Very
alcohol.
powerful.
I've done it with other things. And this last year, I was like, man, those are so easy to just give up. What? Okay, I'm not going to drink beer for 40 days. Or we used to like, I'm not going to eat cookies for 40 days. I gave up talking about other people, period, whether it was good or bad. And it was so hard to do. And every time I'd catch myself slipping, it was like I was actually tuning a new program in my head, which was actually to not only not take it personally, but not make it personally.
Boom.
Anyway,
Dude, that was good. That was good.
I highly recommend it, but just don't talk about other people.
Dude, not and I'll tell everyone, like, try for the rest of your life, but look, restart as many times as you need to. Try to not share negative things with other people, with the exception of boundaries.
Sure.
So if I went to the bank and gave them $100 and deposited $100, and the next day I went back and I said, hey, can I pull out $50? And they said, no, you didn't deposit anything. I am going to let Mike know that this bank took $100 from me. Okay. That is important. Okay. That is a factual thing, and that is a boundary. Outside of that, you have, I believe it's very important. And I fail at whatever level I fail, but everyone that's listening that knows me knows a certain level of, would probably agree. They'd probably say, yeah, pretty good. I do my absolute best to not share my negative opinions of others. I'll even stop myself in mid-sentence and say, first of all, anyone knows me, like, most people when I'm talking about, I'm like, this guy's an amazing guy. I'm like, this guy's freaking amazing. Like, dude, when I introduce you to anyone, Mike, I'm like, this guy's amazing. How do I know so many amazing people? Oh, that's easy. I just fucking weed my garden often. But the other thing is, if someone, by the way, they're not in my garden. If I got a bad vibe on them, they're not in my freaking garden. But just because they're not in my garden doesn't mean they can't be in Mike's garden, right? Mike says I need a photographer, a back rubber, and I'm like, dude, I know this guy that is a back rubber. I'll literally stop in the middle of saying, let's say that guy gives me a bad vibe because I think he likes red cars and I don't like red cars.
Sure.
I will say, hey, I don't use this guy, Mike, and there's whatever reasons that I choose not to, but I don't know that they would apply to you. Go link up with this guy and form your own decision.
Actually, let me stop you. I think actually Greg's done this before, and what he said specifically was, um, "Hey, I know this gentleman. I don't use him, or I have not used him in a while, but here's his contact, and you may or may not like him."
And I leave it at that because you have to form an opinion. Now, if I get screwed over by the guy, Mike's going to know that, hey, factually, here's how
Yeah,
I was
I
screwed
don't
over.
use that gentleman I sent you. I just want to let you know I had a really bad experience that cost me time.
Bingo, bingo.
Right. And I would say that too. You know what? Just neutrally speaking here, the man, you might give him a shot. He was really good at this, but here's what happened to me when I did use him. That's all I got for you. This tool that I used, this torque wrench, it did set the specs right on those tires, but this one fell off while I was driving.
Right, right. So I believe that important, when we're talking about sharing that information. All right, let's dive into the next one.
Let's go to the next one.
The next one, the next one's my favorite. All the way through. Next one's my favorite. Sounds like my son. Like whatever he wants to do, he'll be like, "Can I play video games? Playing video games is my favorite." Everything's his favorite in the moment. Okay, so don't make assumptions. Okay, I'm gonna kick us off on this one. I have a story to share with everyone. So, for those of you listen in for the first time, I served in the Marine Corps. I did 3 combat deployments. I was 0311, which is infantry, just a basic rifleman. And I did 3 deployments between 2004 and 2007, so in the earlier years of the war. In 2004 and 5, I was on my second deployment, and sniper teams used to go out in two. I'm not a school trained sniper. Just highlight that. Sniper teams used to go out in 2-man teams, and somewhere earlier in the war, we had an American sniper team get overran. So sniper teams became 4-man teams for a period of time. On my second deployment, we had a sniper team, 4 men attached to our company, and one of those gentlemen did not make it home. So because I had actually my physical fitness test, my shooting stuff was very primo. I'm a 7th award expert with iron sights, shooting out to 500 yards at a human-sized target. So because of that, ominous dominus, I got to join the sniper team for my second deployment. To be clear with everyone, I'm not a school-trained sniper. I just got to do some really cool stuff just by the way the situation arose. Okay, I was doing some training with the snipers, and they had me doing this exercise, and I had a 50 power spotting scope, and I had a field of fire, an area that I was reviewing, and I had a period of time in which I was reviewing this, and then I would report back everything that I found. Whatever I found, I would just report back. And so I get done, say I had 30 minutes, and I get done, and my leader came over, and he said, all right, what do you got? And I start giving him my report, and I said, such and such angle, 300 yards out, 500 yards out, there's a soda cap, like a can, like when you, that little thing that comes off. I said, there's a soda cap on this bush. I seen it. I could see it they had it hanging on one of the bush branches, like 500, 600 yards out. So I tell him that, and he said, you're sure it's a soda cap? I said, yeah, I'm proud. I found it. He's like, there's soda? I said, yeah. He said, 100%. And I'm like, yeah, dude, I'm super friggin' proud. I just found this thing. And he said, okay. He said, we're going to walk out there and look. If it's not a soda cap, would you agree to let me just kick you right in the nuts? Okay. Maybe I want to rethink about it if it's definitely I'm like, can I look back through the scope? No. Right now, do you want to commit? You said you knew. Do I have an option to not commit? Yeah, if you say you're not sure, we can just go out and confirm it. Okay, I'm not sure. And we walked out, and it was a soda cap. The lesson I learned that day, that me and my wife, you can ask my wife, we've been together for almost 10 years, or maybe it's 10 years, that we live by. Everything appears to be until it is factually confirmed. And this allows us to never make assumptions.
Dang.
So it appeared to be a soda cap on a bush 500-600 yards out. At which point in time it was confirmed, then it's confirmed. That's why in snipers you have confirmed kills and you have unconfirmed kills. It would appear to be that I shot such and such at such and such location in such and such place, and that he died afterwards. But we don't factually know until we go collect the body, because what if his side came and picked him up and got him back to health?
Whew.
It appears to be until it is confirmed. And that has helped me in so many ways in my life. Another example would be in real estate. Myself and Mike, real estate agents, I was doing transits a couple years back. I was doing a transaction, and I was like pretty certain about. The gentleman said, "Hey, do you have this, this, this?" And I said, "I'm pretty sure, da, da, da." And he said, "No, this, this, this." And I said, "Well, I want to reserve the right to be wrong, and I think we should check, but I just feel like it could be this. Let me go validate." And I went and validated it. And that guy couldn't have been more right, and I couldn't have been more wrong, and I couldn't have been more thankful to reserve the right to be wrong. So I didn't have to look like a big fat idiot.
Wow. I just like, when you said the bottle cap, I thought, yeah, that could be an insurgent or not. That could be a 5-year-old boy playing with a paper airplane.
Well, and think about
Um,
don't make it so our last agreement. Don't take anything personally. How many assumptions were made on the assailant on the story that you shared?
um,
If we literally, your life will change if you don't do any other agreement. I know I said the first two were probably my favorite. I don't. It's hard. It really is hard. If you didn't do any other agreement and you just stop making assumptions, your life will change right now. You are assuming all the negative shit in your life and manifesting it.
yeah, in real estate, we've taken a lot of these risks with assumptions. I'm saying we as agents and as buyers and sellers. Um, oh yeah, I'm going to waive the inspections. This is a great house. It's brand new. Really? You know it's a great house. You assume it's a great. In fact, they have
Assuming.
that great quote. You've probably heard this. If you assume, you're making an ass out of you and me. And I can't tell you how many times this has came true. One of the things in the four agreements that really stuck out about the assumptions is assumptions are, those can break marriages, and marriages between, I'm married to my job, I'm married to my
Bingo. I was
spouse,
about to say
my
business
business
partnerships. You
partner.
name it. You name it. Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Don't
dude,
think of marriages
just
as household jointing, but you're
oh
married to your
God,
business
yeah.
plan, to your business partner, to your.
And think about, just here's a quick example you could understand. It's not nearly as heavy as that was a really well told story, dude. By the way, I want to celebrate you for a second, because like just me imagining a boot in my nuts after making that assumption at a 50x, like, discovery there, like all that just kind of like clicked in my head. So thank you very much for that. I don't know if any of you guys probably understood that too. So I'm just gonna throw it at that.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you,
Where I
brother.
was going with, I don't know if you guys understand that. And of course you do.
Of course you
I'm making that
do.
assumption right now. Now imagine you go home and ladies, you go home and your husband has been working his ass off all day and he can't wait to make love to you. And he's there, he made dinner, he cleaned everything up, playing in the house, some wine out on the table, whatever. And he's tired, you can tell. And so you assume, oh, maybe I want to make him a bubble bath and put him to sleep. In his mind, also, he's sitting there trying to connect with his spouse. And because you assume that he wants to get in a bath, he doesn't want to get in a bath. You kidding me? He wants to bathe in you. Now there's going to be some dissension, and he doesn't know how to say, well, I just want you to take your clothes off, honey. Like, there's that. Or
Right. Right.
imagine your wife just needs you to take the trash out because maybe she's not that strong.
Dude, let me give you another
Maybe
one.
it stinks and it changes the way her head thinks in the morning. Like these little things. Now, hold on. Let me just say this. If you just say what you're looking for, if you just clarify that, right? Like you have a roommate, you leave the dishes out on the table. Maybe that's a household rule. You could have just asked, oh, when I'm done with the dishes, can I leave them on the counter till the end of the day? Or is this a boundary? Like
You
instead of
assume that it
assuming
was
that could
okay.
be the
Right. Right.
boundary.
Right. Right.
Right. Instead of assuming, let's just ask what the boundary is, or let's ask what the expectation is so that we don't have to make the assumption.
Let me
Anyway, that's
let me give you guys this one real quick. If you're in a relationship, this will save your relationship real quick right now. It's done wonders for ours. Wonders. When I figured it out and we started using it, I was like, holy shit. So we make assumptions. So if you're if you're anything like me or Mike, we want to help people. Most people are like this. Not everyone, and it's okay. You're allowed to be whatever way you are, okay? But what I mean is if someone said, I'm thirsty, like I'm gonna go figure out a way to help them not be thirsty no more. Like even if I don't know this person, right? When you are like us, if you are like me, if you are that driven to, I have an extreme servant's heart, then when your wife vents to you, you will try to tell her how to solve her problem because you can see the solution and you don't want her to have that problem no more. And she just wants to tell you how much Tina at the office fucking sucks. And that's it. That's it. She just wants to vent. We assume sometimes what the other person wants when they're sharing with us. So the one thing that helped me in a relationship I'm going to give you guys is when your spouse comes to you, man or woman, both sides. All right. If you're a woman and your husband comes in, he's bitching. Honey, are you venting or are you looking for advice? Change the whole fucking game.
oh man.
Because if they say I'm venting, then you just shut the fuck up and listen, and they will love you so fucking deep. You are
Oh,
so annoying. By the way, I'm talking about myself. You are so annoying when you keep trying to solve their problems, Greg.
oh man. I have to share something real quick. I was
Good.
going to share this earlier, but I was 24 years old. I was driving a loud Mustang GT on PCH, right by Malibu Seafood. I tossed a cigarette out the window and got pulled over. And the cop says, I need you to get outside of your car so I can search and see if there's any guns or grenades.
Or
I was like,
grenades.
what? Oh,
Okay.
literally said grenades.
Okay.
And I was like, no, I literally was on the defensive as soon as he said that. I was like, there's something up with this guy. So he's like rifling through my car, dude. Not look. I told him my license and registration, and everything's right in the center console. He's like digging under this and that. He finds like a pill under the seat. I think like in a cigarette pack or next to one. And apparently that's where people put drugs. So he says, "What is this? It looks like meth." And I was like, "It's a pre-workout." And he's like, "No, man, it looks like meth." And I was like, it's a pre-workout, man. And he's like, no, it looks like meth. You can either tell me what this is or I can arrest you. We can take this into the lab. And I was like, dude, I have to go to work. My team is expecting me. We have like a job that has to get done today. It's construction. And I was very important in being there. I was like, I needed to call them. He's like, you're not calling anybody. You got meth in your car. And I was like, it's not meth. And he's like, how do you know? Like it just
How do
going
you
back
know?
and forth. It's just going back and forth. He's running me through the ringer. So he starts like looking at my trunk, which I guess you're not supposed to do. But anyway, he like looks at my trunk and there's like a little scale in there. And there's like a bottle of Jack Daniels. Okay. So he arrests me for possession of methamphetamine with intent to sell. Okay. So fast forward to when they let me out of jail and refunded me the money that they had cost me for that day. I'd never seen methamphetamine until I Googled it to see what it looks like. I was a personal trainer at the Malibu gym where I made high performance fitness supplements. And I had something called phenylethylamine, which is a precursor to dopamine, adrenaline, basically. And when you trigger it with caffeine and some other stuff, it would make you go if you hit it just right. And so yeah, I guess that's kind of the same thing. However, it's completely legal. You can buy it on Amazon and it ain't gonna kill you. And it looks exactly like methamphetamine. Which I didn't know. So anyway, I never got my scale back, which was fun.
You're like,
If
I
you,
never.
you take too much of some of this stuff, like caffeine, right? If you mismeasure, like 200 milligrams is not that different from like 800 milligrams, which can give you a heart
Mm-mm-mm.
attack in one hit. And
Yeah,
so, you know
I
what I mean? I was
actually
like,
I encountered a person one time that had a caffeine overdose. They lived. but like close proximity, like it was weird. Like I remember they were like they didn't know how to like they didn't know what was wrong with them, and they
Right,
were like pretty much like shaking and they couldn't move and like we had
right.
like rush from the hospital. Come to find out, they just weren't paying attention. Had a cup of coffee, had a Monster, had a this, had a that, and fucking added up, and we're like, holy shit, you're still alive. Whoa.
Right, that's a lot of caffeine. You remember those red lines?
Yes, those are good. I love red line.
So, yeah,
Only
dude.
half the bottle. Only half the bottle.
No, if you drink half, it works better because you're
Oh
not
yeah.
so over. And red line
Yeah.
has the active ingredient I was just talking about.
Yeah, yeah. I
That's
love
the
red line.
red
Dude,
line.
okay,
So
let's
yeah,
give
let's go to the
everyone
next one.
the four agreements, the last one. This one's short and sweet. Short and
Yeah.
sweet. I got a real compact message for it, and then we'll grab mics. Always do your best. Okay? Period. You are the only person that gets to govern this.
Yes.
The feeling of guilt you have is because you've been fucking sandbagging. Go do your best and fuck the rest. I said all that.
Yeah.
Go do your absolute best. If it's your best, there's no humanly possible way that you can do more. And anybody that expected any more of you, ultimately, we can have a conversation on how I can change or grow or evolve or ascend in the future. But the expectation, the false expectation you had of me, ultimately is a you problem.
Yeah.
Do your best. When you're feeling guilt, when you're feeling like I didn't do enough, it's probably because you didn't do enough.
Oh, 100%. Our inner moral compass is so accurate if we just step back and trust it. And actually, since this podcast series is called Stepping into Your Power, this is a major key alert. When you can trust that you've done the best because you actually have, you will feel so good.
So good. So
good. And
good.
if someone says
Ugh.
you didn't make it, guess what?
You can't
can
even hear
rest
them.
easy. You can rest easy knowing you did the best you could. And
You
it
can,
doesn't matter. And
you're
it's
congruent
crazy.
knowing that that's their trauma, not yours.
Yes, yes, yes. But if you
And no harm.
if you left something on the table and you
It's going to
fucked
haunt you.
around
It's
and
going
you
to haunt
missed
you.
your sleep, you didn't study,
It's going to
and you
haunt you.
just failed, oh man, you feel guilty and gross and slimy
And
because
then you need to make up
you're at fault.
excuses because you think everyone knows all that. No one knows. No one knows, right? But you think everyone else knows, so you make up a plethora of excuses so everyone knows that it wasn't because I didn't do my best. It's because of all these things. That's why I didn't get it. Make sure you know I have these reasons that I didn't get it. It's not because I didn't do my best, but I
Right.
feel some kind of way because I didn't do my best.
Oh,
This is
amen.
we're creating this cycle.
Yeah.
When you do your best, when you fucking show up 100% the first day, you're going to feel so freaking good.
Amen. Those are
Dude,
the four
this is an
agreements.
awesome
This is awesome.
podcast, dude. I appreciate all the energy you brought today, Mike.
Yeah,
As
hey,
always.
for those of you, thank you so much, and I appreciate yours, Greg. I can't. We've got some great stuff for you guys coming up in the next couple episodes. Like Greg and I've been brainstorming a bit back and forth, and I cannot wait to continue to share with you guys. But I would ask, which of the four agreements are you most comfortable with, and which one do you struggle with the most? Each of you
Ooh.
is going to have at least one of these that just really clicks in your head, and you're like, I get that. I do that. I resonate with this. And that's great. And thank you. I'm proud of you. Also, you're going to have one that you're like, golly, I do that all the time. And that's okay because admitting it is actually the first step in order to challenge it within, and that there's a process for this, but it's actually going to happen because you've already started this. And so which one do you struggle with the most, and why do you struggle it? How and is there a situation that you could comment or bring up and that we could even talk about? Thank you very much.
Boom. I love it. Y'all be great. It's already in you. We'll see you next week. The next 12 weeks are sponsored by Alex Jimenez. Alex is a coach, a speaker, and a VA home loan specialist. To learn more about how Alex Jimenez is serving the veteran community as well as our local community, go to ajnashville.com.